Welcome to PTCS. I'm Rosalind Yang, one of the administrative staff at the school, and today we're going to talk about some, but not all, of the safety precautions we are putting into place to make sure we prioritize the health and safety of all of our families and all of our students. So to begin with, before students even come into the building, there's a strict evaluation questionnaire that each student and staff needs to fill out and answer, and we will also make sure that all people entering the building have their temperatures checked. So for students, what this will mean is that their temperature will actually be checked before they enter into the building. Once we're inside the building, there's hand sanitizing stations placed at strategic and key locations throughout the school. We're also going to make sure that when we are inside the school, that all of our students and all of our staff are maintaining safe social distance, and of course, we will all be required to wear a mask when we are inside. Of course, for our teachers, especially with our younger students, during instruction time, they may have to wear a face shield instead of a face mask so that their mouths are able to be seen during instruction. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we go into one of the classrooms. For now, I'd like to point out that there are also posted very clearly in the hallways of the building signs that show the direction, reminders for safe social distance, and we also have on the floors arrows that show the direction of travel. That means our students all need to be facing the correct direction, maintaining that social distance, and then of course, it tells us exactly the flow of direction when we're traveling in the hallways into classrooms. Speaking of classrooms, let's go visit one of those classrooms right now and see how our teachers are starting to set up for the beginning of the school year. Now, our teachers are hard at work, but we're not quite completely finished, so this is just to give us a taste of what the classrooms will look like once we open for the first day of school. So come on in. All right, so here we are inside of one of our 4-year-old classrooms, and as you can see, as they walk in, there are arrows that show which direction they go in. Our students will also have their own containers for any personal items that come into the school inside of their own cubbies. There will be no cross-contamination between items that come in from the home. And you can see in our classrooms, all the chairs are spaced apart to allow for appropriate distance, and they're also all facing in one direction. At the front is where our teacher is going to be instructing, and while she's instructing, she will be wearing a face shield so that students can see her mouth and, of course, her facial expressions. In the corner, we have our play zone, and we're going to make sure that there's going to be limitations on how the students use those each day, and we're going to be properly sanitizing objects inside of the play zone between uses. And then, of course, our cots are going to be appropriately spaced apart during nap time, and we will no longer be using sheets this year. And right now, we have some tables inside of the classroom, but those will also be removed because we will not be sharing tables between students. They will all have their own individual lab desks. Now we're going to talk about the difference between a face shield and a face mask, and when it's appropriate to wear a shield, a mask, or both. Now, sometimes our instructors will need to wear a face shield. The advantage of wearing a face shield is that you can see the bottom half of my face, and you can see my mouth, you can see the expressions that I'm making. And this is especially important for our kids who are learning their letters, learning how to read, learning phonics, to see the shape of the lips and the mouth as I'm making sounds. Now, of course, as our students are learning about emotions, socializing, learning to read facial expressions, when you cut out half of the information, you're losing a lot of information. So having the lower half of our face showing is really, really helpful for that. The disadvantage of wearing a face shield is that, as you can see, the bottom of this part is all open. It's open on the sides. It does not offer as much protection as a face mask. So if our teachers are wearing only the face shield, we will be at least 6 feet apart from the student at a minimum. Now, when appropriate, for maximum protection, we may be wearing a face shield and a face mask. Now, as you can see with the mask, I have a more closed and tight fit around the bottom part of my face, covering both my nose and my mouth. Now, for most normal interactions, we'll probably, as instructors and teachers, be wearing just the face mask. This will be enough to provide adequate protection for most normal interactions. And of course, we'll be asking that all of our students wear a face mask at all times. That's it. In addition to everything we've talked about today, what the teachers are doing and what the administration will be doing, we'll actually be implementing a daily checklist for cleaning. So that will be inside each classroom as well as inside the building in general, where we are increasing our sanitization measures. We're even hiring additional staff to be able to address these additional demands to make sure that we are taking extra care to keep everyone safe. You're going to be learning more during the orientation, so make sure you listen carefully, and if you have any questions, of course, we'll be here to answer those questions for you. Thank you so much.